Hey everybody, Leah Klett here with the Christian Post, and I'm so honored today to be joined by actor and singer Dennis Quaid. He stars in the brand new film Reagan about the life of Ronald Reagan, hitting theaters August 30. Ronald Reagan is one of the most beloved presidents in our nation's history. What was it about him that made you want to be a part of this project?
Well, he was my favorite president, and I think the greatest president of the 20th century for sure. And I didn't say no, but I didn't say yes when I was first offered it because it really fear went through my spine because like I said, he was my favorite president, and everybody knows what Ronald Reagan looked like. He's one of the most recognizable people in the world, like Muhammad Ali. And but the public Reagan, that's kind of easy, but that's kind of an impersonation. And I wanted to get to feel him at his core.
Mhm.
And I was lucky that I was invited to the Reagan Ranch, which was the Western White House back then. And when I drove up those 5 miles of bad road and got up to the top of that mountain where his place was, I came in through the gates and I could really feel him as a person.
Mhm.
Reagan, I realized, was a humble man, and their house there, it was 1,100 square feet. This is the Western White House we're talking about. Well, where he received the Queen of England, and they had a king size bed, but it was two single beds that were zip tied together, and you know, three remote controls there to operate the television, like back in the 80s, like it was, with a note from Nancy on how to do it. And like I said, I could really feel him, and that's what compelled me to say yes to doing the movie.
So you said he was your favorite president long before you even heard about this movie. What were some parallels you felt with him?
Well, we're both actors. Uh, we I think I have a kind of sunny disposition towards life like he did. But yeah, I like to, when I play real people, I feel like I have a responsibility to pl portray them from their point of view, and to took a while to really get there for me. And because the great communicator that Ronald Reagan was, there was also a very private part of himself that it made him difficult to really know. And Nancy, you know, his wife probably knew him better than anybody, and said there was a place there too that was difficult to penetrate. And I think that had to do with his relationship with God, to tell you the truth. That was very private. And but I it was an honor to do, and I think we portray him as a human being, like all of us.
Yeah, it's so interesting to me. You mentioned that Reagan's humble, but he was also a gifted communicator. It seems like we've lost that in the public discourse, especially in a contentious election season. What can we learn from the way that Reagan did communicate with the public with humility, but also with winsomeness, and also, he keeping some things close to his chest with some privacy?
Maybe it's us as well, not just the people that we look to be our leaders. Maybe it's us who have some work to do on ourselves as a people. And I I have hope and faith in the wisdom of the American people uh, winning uh, in the end for that. We're in times now that were very much like the times before Reagan came into office. And it was he came along and won the Cold War, and uh, made us feel that we could do anything. And but I'm sure that Ronald Reagan would give credit for winning the Cold War to the American people.
Yeah.
Like he said, there's it's amazing how much you can get done in Washington if you're willing to not take credit for it.
Well, there's a lot of truth in that statement.
Yeah, it's just amazing life and amazing person, and I think the movie is, it's number one, it's to entertain people, and that's in the story of his life, which is an amazing life. It's an amazing love story, really, between he and Nancy that I think the public has not really seen before, and you get to be like a fly on the wall. All these great events that happened that you wanted to see at the time that they happened, but there's there's stories, but there's not it wasn't filmed, and this movie goes there. That's what I love about it.
Well, what do you hope this movie and your portrayal of Reagan does add to his legacy, to what people remember about him and know about his life?
Um, that the humanness of him, really. It's the movie is not a love letter. It's a kind of warts and all type of portrayal in a sense, but it's also a story of triumph, and it's about us as much as it is about him. And it follows Reagan from a boy in Dixon, Illinois, in 1912 to when he said goodbye to the American people in a letter after he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's after his presidency. And it's, Reagan's story was a story of struggle, a story of personal struggle and failure and overcoming obstacles in his life. For instance, I felt like things we did have in common were that we had a sunny disposition naturally, and that we were both actors. And really in my research and really delving into Reagan and his life, I think he felt like as an actor, he was a failure. He was, in the studio system, but he never got beyond playing in B movies. And I think, like John Wayne had his spot as far as, as an actor. And but he went on to become like he was a voice of GE. He made commercial. I remember him as a kid. I remember watching him as a kind of do a sales pitch for Baraxo soap and stuff like that. And he was married to Jane Wyman at the time, who won an Academy Award for Johnny Belinda. And I think he started to kind of maybe feel a feeling of not being relevant, to and which is very important, I think, for us to feel that and searching around for a purpose. And his faith had a lot to do with him finding that purpose in life.
Dennis, are we ever going to see you in public office?
Nope. No, God told me that's not my purpose. It's I'm very interested in politics, always have been, in history and as well. And and I've also been, as an actor, I just enjoy it so much because it's about, for me, what makes people tick. And Ronald Reagan has been like the epitome of that. And I have to say that after, I've always said that The Right Stuff, which I did back in 1984, was my favorite movie. That Reagan has actually knocked that off the top spot. It's my favorite movie that I've ever done.
Wow. Well, given your incredible career, that's high praise for this movie. So I'm really excited to see it. And I know it's just going to really have such a positive impact.
That would be great. And I hope that it just people are entertained by it. Go into the theater and you have like an experience with an audience. It's quite thrilling, actually, and it's the right spot for it.